That morning the air just felt heavy, like something was about to break. This isn't just a story about justice. It's about what happens when arrogance meets the wrong person on the wrong day. The woman at the heart of this, we'll call her Justice Alara Vance. She wasn't wearing her robes that day. She was just Alara, walking toward the grand steps of the county seat Superior Court, carrying a worn leather briefcase filled with the day's docket. She'd been doing that walk for 23 years. The presiding judge, a graduate of the Harvard Law Review, a woman who had seen the whole system from the inside out. But to Officer Riker Thorne, this guy, he was a gatekeeper, a man whose whole identity was wrapped up in the power of his badge and a deep, ugly conviction that he could spot a problem a mile away. To him, Alara wasn't a judge. She was just a black woman in a nice suit, walking toward a building he controlled. He blocked her path. Right there on the public sidewalk, that's a key detail. The public sidewalk and his face, man, it was just pure contempt. Like he could smell something dirty on her. Another entitled activist trying to sneak in. I remember hearing later, that's what he mumbled. She tried to sidestep him, just shake her head and get to work. But he escalated instantly. It was a slap. A loud sound, the kind that cracks the silence, snapping her head sideways. That expensive briefcase, her life's work for the day, scattered across the stone steps like confetti. You see that moment in slow motion, right? The shock, the documents floating down. Before she could even process the ringing in her ears, his hand was on her throat, slamming her against the cold stone of the courthouse wall. The bronze nameplate above the entrance. The Honorable Judge A. Vance presiding, staring right down at her. His words dripping with venom. Filthy animals like you belong in cages, not courthouses. The cuffs bit into her wrists, tight, humiliating. And the worst part? A bunch of other officers gathered around, recording it on their phones, laughing. That sound, the laughter, it's the sound of the system working exactly how it thinks it should. Alara's jaw was throbbing, a deep purple bruise blooming. But her eyes, they stayed locked on the engraving, a silent promise. She wasn't fighting him then. She was observing him, taking notes for the reckoning that was coming. Cut to the courtroom. It's a rush, a scramble to control the narrative. Thorne, all spit and polish now, straightens his uniform, clears his throat. He's done this 1,000 times. He's the hero, she's the erratic criminal, the temporary judge. A nervous older guy named Harrison nods along. Thorne starts the performance smooth as oil. Your Honor, I was conducting routine security when I encountered a suspicious individual attempting to breach security. She was acting erratically, refusing ID, carrying what appeared to be stolen legal documents. He gestures to Alara, sitting there cuffed at the defense table, the bruise a stark, undeniable flag on her cheek. Two other officers, witnesses, exchange knowing smirks from the gallery. They've seen the playbook. She kept screaming about being someone important, Thorne continues, his voice thick with disdain. These people always claim to be lawyers, judges, senators. Anything to avoid accountability. He plays a conveniently edited video clip on his phone, claiming his body cam malfunctioned. How convenient, Alara finally murmurs, a quiet, almost serene sound, but with pure fire in her eyes. The prosecution buys it, the judge buys it. Everyone buys the comfortable lie that this is just another angry black woman playing the victim card, trying to game the system. Then, Alara rises. Slow, deliberate. The cuffs clink softly. Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate the opportunity to address these allegations. The tone. It was all wrong for a defendant. It was professional. It was the tone of the one in charge. She starts dissecting his lie. Officer Thorne testified I was trespassing. I was on a public sidewalk, approaching the main entrance at 8:47 a.m. I'm sure Your Honor is familiar with Hague v. Committee for Industrial Organization, which establishes public sidewalks as traditional public forums. The court stenographer literally stops typing. She continues, pulling the room deeper into a legal chokehold. Regarding these suspicious documents, those include pending case files, judicial memoranda, and administrative correspondence, all of which I have legitimate access to in my professional capacity. Judge Harrison leans in, confused. And what exactly is your profession, miss? Alara pauses, a small dangerous smile playing on her lips. Williams, Dr. Williams, and we'll get to my background shortly. Thorne starts to sweat. Something is terribly, deeply wrong. Then the final surgical blow. Regarding the officer's claim that his body cam malfunctioned, I would like to formally request that this court issue a preservation order for all electronic surveillance data from 8:45 to 9:05 a.m., including courthouse security footage and county backup body cam files. Thorne's face drained of color. He forgot the courthouse cameras. He forgot the automatic cloud backup system. The prosecutor objects. The defendant cannot simply make evidentiary demands. Alara turns to the prosecutor, her expression making the woman instinctively step back. Your Honor, pro se defendants have the constitutional right to present evidence under the Sixth Amendment. Additionally, Brady v. Maryland establishes the prosecution's obligation to preserve potentially exculpatory evidence. The room went silent. This woman wasn't just familiar with the law. She was the law. Alara reaches into her jacket pocket, slowly so as not to spook the bailiff, and produces a simple leather wallet. I believe there's been a significant misunderstanding about who exactly Officer Thorne assaulted this morning. She holds it up. The gold judicial seal, unmistakable, even from across the room. Perhaps we should recess so that proper identifications can be verified, she suggests, her voice now carrying the unmistakable authority of a person used to giving orders. The gavel falls. Court is in recess. Thorne's world begins to crumble. In the small holding room, the bailiff, Henderson, is fumbling to uncuff her, his hands shaking, whispering, Judge Williams. Jesus Christ, I'm so sorry. Alara cuts him off softly. It's all right, Henderson. You weren't part of this, but I need you to do something for me. Go to my chambers, quietly. Bring me my judicial robes, the black ones with the gold trim. And Henderson. She looks him directly in the eye, the bruise stark against her skin. Bring my gavel, too. The engraved one from my swearing-in ceremony. She then calls Chief Judge Carter, administrative head of the district. She doesn't ask, she orders. Margaret, I need all surveillance footage secured immediately. All cameras, multiple copies. And Margaret, I want every case Officer Thorne has testified in over the past 5 years pulled and reviewed. Every single one. Then the punchline, cold and hard. The dangerous criminal he heroically subdued, it was me, Margaret, on my way to work. He assaulted me, called me a filthy animal, and told me I belonged in a cage. Carter's silence stretches for half a minute. What do you need, Kesha? FBI, Attorney General? Not yet, Alara replies. In about 10 minutes, I'm going to walk back into that courtroom wearing my robes. Officer Thorne is going to learn exactly who he assaulted this morning, and more importantly, who has the power to ensure he faces the consequences of his actions. Henderson returns. She slips the heavy black silk over her shoulders, her armor, her mantle of authority. She picks up the ceremonial gavel, engraved on the handle. Justice is blind, but she sees all. The bruise is still visible on her face, but now it's not just evidence. It's a symbol of how completely the system was about to be restored. Then the boom. All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Alara Vance presiding. The words hit Thorne like a thunderbolt. He goes rigid. Judge Harrison turns pale as death in the chair that isn't his. Alara enters. Full robes. Measured pace. She takes her place behind her bench. The silence is absolute. Officer Thorne, she says quietly, her voice carrying the full, crushing weight of the judiciary. You may remain standing. Harrison tries to stammer out an apology, but Alara cuts him off dismissively, crisply. Thank you for managing my courtroom during my unexpected delay. You may return to your own docket. Harrison nearly runs from the room. Alara turns her attention back to Thorne, who is visibly shaking. Approximately 2 hours ago, you testified under oath. You stated, and I quote, "These people always claim to be lawyers, judges, senators, anything to avoid accountability." Do you recall saying that? Thorne nods weakly. You also stated that people like me need to learn that, quote, actions have consequences. Do you recall that particular piece of wisdom? Alara pulls up the tablet. The crystal-clear security camera footage plays for the whole room. Her walking calmly, Thorne blocking her path, His vile words, his slap, the brutal choke echoing through the speakers. Filthy animals like you belong in cages, not courthouses. Then, the body cam footage, the one he claimed malfunctioned. This is the raw, unedited audio. Thorne's voice snarling, "Look at this uppity," thinking she can just walk into my courthouse. These people need to learn their place. A new file. Audio from Officer Thompson's body cam, the one who stood by laughing. Thompson's voice. Dude's really going off on this one. Think she's actually somebody important like she keeps saying? Rodriguez's voice. Nah, man. Look at her. Thorne knows what he's doing. Probably just another welfare queen trying to scam the system. Alara sets the tablet down. The silence is sickening. Officer Thorne, you asked for my employment verification. I've been the presiding judge of this courthouse for 23 years. Every case you've ever testified in, every warrant you've ever requested, has been under my authority. Thorne finds a whisper. Your Honor, I didn't know. You didn't know, Alara repeats slowly, leaning forward. You didn't know because you didn't bother to look. You saw a black woman and you made assumptions. You saw someone you thought was powerless, and you decided to abuse that power. Then the final, chilling reveal. For the past 6 months, I've been conducting an investigation into patterns of misconduct and racial bias in this police department, working directly with the FBI's Civil Rights Division. Thorne's face goes completely white. This morning's incident wasn't random, Officer Thorne. You've been under investigation, and you just provided us with the most perfect evidence we could have hoped for. She pulls out the chart. The statistics hit the room like buckshot. 47 formal complaints. 87% of your 1,252 arrests involved people of color. A nearly 40% dismissal rate due to constitutional violations. 2.3 million in settlements paid by taxpayers due to your conduct. Your job. She interrupts his stammering. Your job was to be impartial, not selectively apply authority based on skin color. That system protected you, until today. She lifts the gavel high. Officer Thorne, you assaulted a federal judge while she was performing her official duties. You did so based explicitly on racial animus. You then committed perjury when you lied under oath in this very courtroom. She looks down at him, not with anger, but with the cold certainty of finality. You told me this morning to know my place. Well, let me tell you what my place is. My place is on this bench, holding people like you accountable. The gavel comes down once. My place, Officer Thorne, is making sure that what you did to me this morning is the last act of racial violence you will ever commit as a police officer. The second time the gavel falls, it's thunder. You are hereby sentenced to the maximum penalty allowed by law. You will serve 25 years in federal prison without the possibility of parole. She continues, looking out at the stunned, packed gallery. Let this be a message to every police officer, every prosecutor, every official who thinks they can abuse their power without consequences. Justice may be blind, but she sees everything. And eventually she comes for everyone. The applause that erupted was deafening. Justice had finally found its voice. Thorne, the bully, the system's shield, finally learned what it felt like to be powerless. He thought he knew his place and he thought he knew hers. He was wrong about both. Sometimes justice doesn't just wear a blindfold. Sometimes justice wears judicial robes. Sometimes, when the moment is right, justice hits back. What do you think? Was 25 years enough for a lifetime of abuse? And should officers who witness misconduct face the same charge of conspiracy and obstruction that Rodriguez and Thompson did? Drop your comments below and tell me your personal experience with accountability, or the lack of it, in your community. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories where courage triumphs over corruption.